Hello, I'm Philip Stoughton. I'm here at Apex 2020 and I'm joined by Ranjan Chaterjee from Cimetrix. Ranjan, thanks for joining me. You've been busy in the conference and busy on the show floor. Start by telling me a bit about the presentation you did earlier today with Dan Gamota.
Yeah, so we were talking about the convergence in the industries. So we have the PCB assembly, and then OSATs, and then semi. They're kind of morphing together, and they're using machines that are being introduced in the different industries, as well as standards and processes, right? With fan out, fan in, different packaging technologies. So it was about the smart manufacturing roadmap that would use the convergence, and what would the formula be for, what would a reference architecture be?
Yeah, and I think what's interesting there is, we've spent a lot of time in quite a narrow circle here trying to figure out what this section of the industry needs in terms of a connectivity standard and not looked outside for too long. And actually other industries like semiconductor have spent a lot of time and a lot of money developing standards they use. How do you see this clash of industry standards playing out? How do you see those groups working together?
I think the reality would be probably a lot of standards would exist, different things for different reasons and different industries. So the way I think it will work out is that there would be like a standard driver or a product that would kind of handle all products. So we already are building products that can handle multiple protocols. Right now in the cellular industry, people handle multiple protocols like GSM, TDMA, CDMA. People got used to it. So I foresee that in the future there will be innovation, multiple protocols will be supported, and then nobody would talk. And if you look at it, we would probably look at even outside this electronics industry, like finance or other industries, because we already have customers that are asking us for protocols like Kafka, which is a streaming protocol from the finance industry. And these are for machines that have some machines in like semiconductor are $250 million, and they are generating a lot of data, right? So they are almost like a stock market now, and so they're using those kind of analytics tools. They're cheaper, they're quick, and they're made for doing that. Yeah. So there will probably be always, like in semiconductor, they will have GEM for control and all that kind of stuff. But then streaming reams and reams of data in real time would probably be done by things like Kafka.
Yeah, and then you've got their new standard ELS, you've got CFX. It seems that whenever we add a standard, we don't actually take standards away. So there becomes more and more. So I guess when I look at it from the EMS point of view, and they just want to connect. So there's a desire to do that. And for you almost have to be agnostic to the standards and be able to connect regardless. Is that what people are asking you to do?
Yeah, mainly. I think they are mainly going for a faster, better, cheaper kind of thing. So earlier there was the need that why do I need to do this? Why do I want to connect? But now I think they have done that. Every CEO has a mandate to digitize the corporation, so they want to connect the factories and connect the lines. So what we are trying to enable is how to do that quickly. So if you are an EMS, you have 90 factories. If it takes you 6 months to integrate all the lines, then you can imagine it's going to take years and years. So how do you do 90 factories in maybe less than 6 months, for example? And we have done that before, and that's what we are trying to kind of enable.
Yeah, and you've done that before in the semiconductor industry, doing it in the EMS industry. Obviously, you have the challenge that there's legacy equipment there. There's equipment that already has some standards, but not others. Sometimes the equipment manufacturers want to make a bit of extra revenue by adding a standard where really it's just a software patch. How do you get to the point where you can scale connectivity economically? I know you have the Sapience platform, but does that get us to a situation where if I have got 60 factories or 100 factories around the world and 10,000 machines, is there a way I can economically get those connected?
Yeah, I think the way we are looking at it and the way we are pricing it, this is not a service we are providing. We are providing you a product that you can just go there, connect to it, and then it will start working. So we have done factories and lines. We have done line in a factory in Penang, a whole SMT line in less than a day. right? So if it has 22 lines in the thing, we could do it in like a couple of weeks, yeah. So 2-3 weeks, and so that's what we are doing now. So that's we are now working with most of the EMS guys, and like I said, standards take a long time. So whatever standards exist will be used. But if there are new ones, it will take another 10 years, then they will get bypassed by the technology cycle. And like I was saying, Kafka, we are already working with customers on rolling out Kafka. And that becomes cheaper, simpler, and that's a ubiquitous technology. Things that, so it would, I think the technology would supersede all this other work.
Yeah, and you've got to be ahead of it and ready, because when there's a new standard or a new machine and they add it to the line, they need to be able to plug and play immediately rather than have you come back in and do that.
Right. Right now in this industry, everybody is doing everything, right? The equipment vendors are writing their own protocols. The software guys are writing their own protocols. The guys who generate Gerber files are writing their own protocols. I think at some point people are going to specialize and do what they're good at, right? And then that will drive the cost in the industry, right? So I think whenever that time comes, will happen.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right. You know, to my mind, I want the inspection companies to focus on getting the best possible inspection data rather than worrying about the rest of the line, and then allow you guys, the specialists, to focus on the connectivity, but even more importantly on the value that's added on top of that connectivity once you have got that data and you can start to interrogate.
Yeah, inspection guys, I mean, their job is to get data, right? So to generate the data, they can use machine learning and stuff to get insights. When they are roaming around in the plumbing, that's a waste, right? It takes the same amount of software engineers to do the plumbing versus the other thing. So that's where I think they will probably, at some point, they will start focusing on that and leave it to the others.
Yeah, so focus on their domain expertise. And in the meantime, the desire of the EMS companies is to get connected fast and get connected economically so they can actually fulfill some of their needs.
That's correct. That's correct.
Ranjan, pleasure to chat to you. Good luck with the remainder of the show and your other presentations, and we'll talk again soon. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, thank you.